The biggest scam ever, our political system. What's up, everyone? Welcome aboard. It is March. It is March the 2nd. And of course, the year is once again flying by, and you'll learn this. The older you get, the faster time goes. Kind of an interesting anomaly, but in the meantime, it is March 2nd. We are just coming off a fairly substantial beatdown in the market, although Friday saw a pretty significant rally, which we talked about and expected. But in the meantime, again, the scams just keep rolling. The hits just keep rolling. The stealing from the American people, we continue to see more and more evidence of it. And of course, the U.S. aid, and we can talk about the admission that Biden knew that COVID, that mass immunity or herd immunity would have cured it, versus the rushing and forcing these vaccinations out. And of course, Trump was a part of it at the end of it, and bragged about how fast we got the vaccine out. Again, I don't know the whole workings of it, but I do know that Big Pharma got fucked us again. That's what I do know. And of course, we were on top of this story right away, and I felt that we should have been along with Sweden to have no vaccine and to let herd immunity take place. But again, at the end of the day, once again, we, the taxpayer, got to pay the money. I guess there's a big question now. Are we having, by calling English the American language and the language to be used in the United States, is that linguistic racism? You know, it's amazing that, you know, there is so many non-speaking people in the United States, non-English speaking people, and I think it's bullshit. Okay, again, our language here is American, is English. Okay, and again, you want to be in this country, learn to speak the language. And I'm not talking about just the illegals. I'm talking about even the pro athletes that don't speak the language. Again, I think that it's a crime that you want to live in this country. You should learn our language. And hey, that's a story for another day. We saw if you watched Fox on Friday, or you watched any of my guests. I didn't watch any of it, but I did read about it. And of course, the explosion between Zelensky, Vance, and Trump, and basically Trump threw him out of the White House. And of course, all the nations are standing with the Ukraine. And I got to ask why. Okay, again, I'm not saying that it was handled correctly. I'm not defending. I didn't see it, but I'm not unhappy with it. This goes back to that I am tired as an American citizen. I am tired as a taxpayer of funding the rest of the world. Okay, that is what I am really tired about. I am tired of driving around my own town and watching all these homeless people, yet we continue to send billions and billions of dollars out of this country. So at the end of the day, okay, I don't know who is right or wrong. I don't know what happened, but I don't really care. I am not a fan of Ukraine. No, I'm not a fan of Russia either. But certainly, I do know that Zelensky has stole billions of dollars and was helped by President Biden. And if you recall, President Trump got in a problem with a conversation that he had with Zelensky in his last term in office. So again, I'm not upset that it happened. I don't know whether it was right or wrong, but certainly it did happen, and I can't complain because I'm an American first, and I don't care about what goes on, nor am I willing to support the rest of the world. And all of you nations in Europe and everybody want to stand behind Ukraine, go for it. Okay. Again, I don't have a problem, but I just tell you that, again, I have no problem with the information that I have obtained about what happened. And of course, we've got some massive troubles in the banking system again. And again, this is just a start. You heard it here. You've heard it here for about a year. And of course, since then, we saw the bank in California go under. But again, you've got subprime auto delinquencies hit a record high. Does that sound familiar? That was one of the headlines. You can go back to 2008. And again, I'm not telling you we're going to collapse tomorrow. In fact, I said during last week that there'd be a big rally. Again, I'm not telling you that the markets are going to collapse tomorrow. I'm not telling you to panic. I'm telling you to pay attention to the warning signs. Okay? San Francisco mayor orders city workers to report back to the office. Well, that's coming down actually from the federal government, and now some of the states and cities are starting to follow, as Elon Musk has said that you want to work, go back to the office. And I agree. It's enough of the working from home. It's enough of the COVID. The production is horrible, and I think that it's time for people because most people have trouble working from home because there's a lot of other disturbances. But in the meantime, go back to work. I think that's what Musk told the Fed workers, and I think the city should do it too. I mean, it's enough of the sanctuary city. It's enough of the illegals. It's enough of everything. Go to fucking work, okay? Now, I think the other thing you're seeing is California, which is obviously I think it's either number one or number two in the highest taxes between them and New York. They're having trouble paying their bills. Now, it doesn't make sense, okay? If you look at it from a logic standpoint, does it make sense that California can't pay its bills? I mean, if you live in California, you're basically paying about 58% of your total income between states, the city, state, and federal taxes, okay? How can they not pay their bills? How can they be so deep in debt, okay? Doesn't that say that they're doing something wrong? And, of course, AG Pam Bondi, love Pam Bondi, who says, has warned 3 states about their transgender sports rules. I thought we solved this, but again, this is the problem in our government, okay? This is the problem with the power of the states. And again, if we actually lived by the Constitution, government-run city, county, state, I couldn't have a problem, but we don't, okay? Again, this transgender, when it comes to athletics, when it comes to sports, you are the gender you were born. I don't care what you turned out to be later, okay? Now, this is a big concern to me. Number one, they're calling the TikTok ban a threat to free speech. Well, again, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to say that it's a concern, okay? But again, with the problems with AI, with the technology, with the things that go on, I worry about a social platform owned by the Chinese and the information that they can gather. Remember, this is not 1950 or 1980. It's 2025. And it is so easy to obtain and steal information from people. And again, I'm not saying that the United States would be any better at running it, okay? I'm saying that it's a concern, okay? Because one of my biggest concerns is they believe that every customer service now should be AI, and I'm not a fan. Again, maybe I'm just too old, but I'm a fan of talking to a person. I don't like talking to machines who have no idea what I'm talking about, nor understand the frustration of the problems. I think, look, I'm sure there's a place for AI. Obviously, just to give you an idea, when we grew up, we had 3 stations on TV, and of course they developed obviously the cable and everything else, and now most kids don't watch TV, they stream on their phones, which is fine. But I still think there needs to be some customer service. I think one of the biggest problems in this country is the lack of family, the lack of communication, and the ability of 2 people to communicate without fucking texting, okay? Bitcoin falls nearly 17%, not a surprise. We said right here, okay, and on every Monday, 85,000 was our target. It got into the 70s and it closed just over 85,000, but we'll talk about more in our update. What do you think of the egg surcharges? Just another way to get fucked by the restaurant or whatever. Look, I understand the restaurant business is hard. I was in it, okay? I was a purveyor. Well, actually, I wasn't. My father was a purveyor, and I used to work for him. And all I can tell you is it's a hard business. But to have a surcharge on eggs, you want to raise your prices, okay? Enough of the surcharges. I think that is total bullshit, and we're not going to beat it. And again, it's amazing how the bird flu only affects chickens. It doesn't affect the rest of them. I mean, it's interesting, okay? But at the end of the day, I think that, again, the surcharge to me is bullshit. I'm tired of looking at it. Of course, I'm not going to go anyways. They say surcharge. I say, well, you don't get my business. But I think, of course, the cost has gotten out of control. And this is, once again, a way to grab onto more money. We've seen it before, back 30 years ago when cotton first made a move to the upside. And I did a spot on Fox, and I go, look, they can talk all they want. the price of the cotton inside of a pair of jeans is less than 1%. So again, it's all a bunch of bullshit, just a way to steal more money, kind of like very similar to the resort fees at hotels. Now there's a Democratic government that wants to replace the word mother with inseminated person. Are you out of your mind? Do we want to go back to this? If you don't remember, they wanted to go back and change everything in the Constitution. Did not the Biden administration, did not the far left do enough fucking damage by tearing down statues and trying to cancel the history that we've all been through? Is it not enough time to let the country grow, let the country come back together? I mean, again, there's always going to be issues. There's parts of this country that are still in the 19th century, okay? But as a general rule, is it not time that we move forward and let the course take place? There is too many things happening, and to try to change history so that you can repeat it, to me, is moronic, okay? And anybody who believes that you should change the name of mother or mom to inseminated person, or who wants to tell us that this history didn't exist, is a fucking idiot. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. We're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be back with our market commentary right after the break. What's up, kids? Well, hope you had a good week, and of course we are in March. It is the year is once again flying by, but of course you know we have sponsors that help us with the show, and of course there are sponsors, our brokerage partners. And again, I want you to remember I have other brokers. Okay, full disclosure. Okay, but I give you who I prefer and who I think is best. But all I can encourage you to do is check them out for yourself. I don't want to tell you to do something. I want you to do some of your own due diligence. And in the meantime, our partners are Capital Trading Group, which is partners with us on a lot of our futures and commodities trades and programs. Great customer service. And again, it happened to me on Friday. I had a problem with an outside broker. Not going to say who. They screwed me once again. Of course, I'm going to beat them in court. But they stole about $30,000 from me on some bullshit, and I will take care of it. And that has never happened with the Capital Trading Group. It has never happened with TRADIER Brokerage, one of our partners who saves me over $100,000 a year because they charge $10 a month flat. ITM Trading, which is our gold and silver provider, and of course I've been buying from them for, 25 years. And of course SpookyExpress.com if you're a gambler who likes a little bit of offshore action. SpookyExpress.com, and of course our high school program, which we continue to try and rebuild. And let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with my commentary right here on Sunday, March the 2nd. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, March the 2nd. And of course, markets took another little bit of a beatdown. But boy, they were really in trouble on Friday until they had the massive rally at the end of the day. And we thought the rally was coming. Actually, we reversed our own positions to long on Thursday, okay, and then had to suffer through that ugly Thursday. But again, Friday came back, but it was pretty wild, but not a surprise. That is typically where big rallies come from. Now, overall, we are long the equity markets with the exception of the Dow. Overall, I do believe there's a little bit of a rally left, but overall, big time, if I look at a bigger picture, I think we're very close to getting a big crusher here. Now again, I'm not going to tell you how far I think. I just think that we're very close to a big crush, but you know my positions. I disclose them to you every day, plus on Sunday. And we are long the three of the four major indices. Again, I think there's room for a little bit of a rally, but I do think that the warning signs are pretty clear that there is some problems coming, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a big crack. The dollar continues higher, which again, I think it's going to go be much stronger. We don't trade the dollar, and only because it's more money to trade it through New York, commission-wise and cost-wise. So otherwise, if we did trade it, we'd be long dollars. We are short the euro currency. In fact, we're short most currencies right now, basing on a strong U.S. dollar. Bonds and notes continue to try to dribble around. And when you look at the 10-year notes, they've come off a little bit. They're down to 4.3 or so, 4.23. Again, I think they're going to skyrocket. That's just my opinion. I think we're going to see 6% 10-year this year, but we'll see. Either way, we're short the bonds and the notes now. Okay, And of course, in the Bitcoin is closed the week at 84,650. We thought 85,000 was a good target. Now it did trade lower. We're long Bitcoin, and I think it's real. I think there's got to be some more synergy, but I think it's real. Gold got clobbered. We're short gold. Silver, we're flat. Was under some pressure. Platinum, we don't trade, but certainly if you are a platinum trader, I would be looking to be a buyer down here. In the meats, of course, as I've mentioned in the past, I think that only I trade them. But cattle got clobbered on Friday. Hogs rallied a little bit, and again, it's not a surprise. I think cattle's going lower and hogs are going higher. Okay, again, I think if you look at the economy and you look at justify it, I mean, we were at all-time highs when the economy was in horrible shape. So again, to me, that is just the start, and it's just another thing to be concerned about. And the grain markets, we're short the grain markets across the board. I think that they're going to find a bottom here pretty quickly here. Copper, we're short, and has been lower. And natural gas, we're short. It gave us a little scare last week with a big rally, but then finally fell apart. Again, you had a little panic, and that happens all the time. And crude oil, which we're short, and it is lower. Okay. Again, at the end of the day, I think the administration that we have in power is going to bring lower crude prices, which means lower at wholesale, lower natural gas. I mean, we have the storage here. Okay, we just got to get to it. So I think that you're going to see a lot more and a lot cheaper prices, but we'll see what happens in the meantime. I think just one tip I will give you to watch for. We are on a very much of a teeter-totter right now. If markets open lower, look to buy them. If they open higher, look to sell them. I think that's the pattern we're in right now. And as you saw, if you didn't notice all last week, the markets opened higher every day before getting clobbered. So just check it out. Think about it. Something to watch. In the meantime, we're going to step out here for a final break and come back with our commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Just a quick reminder of our sponsors. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Capital Trading Group, TRADIER Brokerage, ITM Trading, SpookyExpress.com, iSchool program. They're on the sides and on the bottom. Check them out. Again, they're only to your benefit. I don't benefit from them. I'm trying to help you. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 2nd. And of course, the Epstein Files. Is that a new TV show that's on tonight? I mean, we can't seem to get the information of the Epstein Files. It's like Pam Bondi said, it's the dog ate my homework. We can't seem to get all the information. And of course, we know why you can't get all the information. Remember this, okay? And I don't know who was involved, and I'm not accusing anybody, okay? I know there were some big names involved. I know that for sure. Otherwise, we would have the files. I do believe that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. I believe that he was murdered. I will not tell you who I believe who murdered him, but you could probably take a pretty good guess if you've listened to me for long enough. But I do believe that, of course, there are names on there that don't want to be found out, and this is one of the problems. And, of course, I do believe that, unfortunately, many of our government officials that have helped facilitate some of the child trafficking, some of the other things, all in the good faith of money. And again, as we opened up with, the biggest scam ever, and of course, not only the Epstein, but the things that we see in this country still today, as hopefully they will be cleaned up, is nothing but a big scam to steal your money. Look at where the money went from USAID. Look at where the money went from other places. It didn't go to you, but you certainly paid for it. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with a Bubba's Daily Update. In the meantime, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the day. We'll see you later.